I'm extremely grateful to be able to provide Maria's family with the answers that they've been waiting for those 47 years. Today's news doesn't lessen the void left by Maria, and it doesn't ease the pain they feel now, but I do hope that it'll begin to allow them some peace.
Imagine waiting nearly 50 years for answers, only to finally see justice served after decades of uncertainty and pain. This is the story of Maria Lorraine Honzell, a 14-year-old girl who was tragically stabbed to death in 1977. By whom and why? Why did this case take 50 years to uncover? This is a story about how determination, new technology, and a surprising twist finally solved this heartbreaking case, bringing justice and closure to a case long thought unsolvable. Nearly half a century after 14-year-old Maria Honzell was brutally stabbed while babysitting one Monday night, the Colorado Springs Police Department, CSPD, has finally cracked the case. For Maria's family, justice may not have come for the suspect, but they find solace knowing Maria can finally rest in peace. This breakthrough brings closure to a decades-long search for answers, shedding light on a tragic event that has haunted the community for years.
Colorado Springs police say they know who killed a 14-year-old babysitter 47 years ago. Maria Honzell was found stabbed to death in 1977. Recent advances in DNA technology offered a break in that cold case. Our Bill Folsom looks at how the crime was finally solved.
But before that, let's take a look at what really happened on that fateful night. On February 7, 1977, around 11:21 p.m., the Colorado Springs Police Department received a distressing call. It was about a possible suicide in the 5400 block of North Nevada Avenue. But when officers arrived, they discovered a heart-wrenching scene. A 14-year-old girl wearing a blue jumpsuit was found dead, with multiple stab wounds to her chest and neck. This young victim was later identified as Maria Lorraine Honzell. Now, Maria was babysitting for a neighbor in the same apartment complex. Janie Kusleka, mother of two, came home at about 11:20 p.m. and found Maria lifeless in the master bedroom. Thankfully, her own children, aged 6 and 8, who were present during the horrific incident, were unharmed and asleep in their beds when she returned. Now, Kusleka told the authorities that she had spoken to Honzell on the phone just a few hours before the incident, and everything seemed completely normal during their conversation. There were no signs or hints that anything was amiss or that trouble was brewing. Now, the older child, showing remarkable courage, even managed to provide a detailed description of the suspect. He recounted to the police that he had gone to bed around 8 p.m. However, he was abruptly awoken later by a commotion inside the apartment. He told investigators that he saw a teenage boy in the midst of a struggle with Honzell. The boy was holding her mouth shut, which made the situation even more alarming. The young witness mentioned that he heard yelling and the words "stop it" before both the teenage boy and Honzell moved into Kusleka's bedroom. He was able to give a detailed description of the suspect to the police. According to him, the suspect appeared to be about 17 years old, stood around 6 feet tall, had noticeable acne, and was wearing a fluffy coat along with jeans. The detailed account from the boy was crucial for the investigation, as it provided the authorities with a clearer picture of what transpired that night and a description of the suspect. These moments of terror and confusion paint a vivid picture of the chaos that erupted in what should have been a peaceful home. Aside from the boy's witness statement, leads in the case were sparse, and the investigation went cold for decades.
It was a younger male, described a little bit older than the victim, but a white male with, I believe, scruffy hair.
The police then started looking into Maria's friends, paying special attention to any boyfriends or romantic interests she might have had. They thought that maybe someone close to her could hold the key to solving the case. Investigators talked to her friends, asking questions about her relationships and any unusual behavior. They wanted to know if anyone seemed overly interested in Maria, or if she had mentioned any concerns about a particular person.
Several suspects were identified. One was identified in Rhode Island after being arrested on a similar case where a young girl had been murdered. That person, based on the investigation, was placed in Colorado Springs at the time of Maria's death, leaving shortly afterwards.
Now, an autopsy conducted by the El Paso County Coroner's Office confirmed that Maria had been brutally stabbed multiple times. Her death was ruled a homicide, but the motive remained a mystery. The Colorado Springs Police Department launched an intensive investigation, interviewing numerous people and gathering evidence. Despite their efforts, no suspect was identified at the time. The motive behind Maria's senseless murder remained elusive. The case slowly grew cold, but the police never gave up on finding justice for Maria. As years went by, advances in DNA technology provided new hope. Several pieces of evidence were sent to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation for further analysis. From a bloodstain on Maria's clothing, a male DNA profile was developed. However, this DNA did not match any samples in the existing databases, including the Combined DNA Index System, CODIS. Despite checking various potential suspects, the case remained unsolved. Yet the police couldn't find out who did it. For years, they searched for clues and questioned many people, but the case remained a mystery. It seemed like Maria's story would never have an ending.
Could have been somebody that we knew, and I think that's what's scary because we don't know. And we don't know if he's walking among us.
Now, Maria and Delfina were really close friends. In fact, Maria had asked Delfina to babysit with her on the night she was killed. But Delfina's mom wouldn't let her go. Maybe things would have been different if she had gone that night. But then, she says her mother broke out the news to her that Maria was dead. Take a look at what she has to say.
My mother said no because the next day was a school day.
A few hours later, her mother would have to break the news to her that Maria was dead.
It was devastating. I mean, I felt like, my heart just sank and everything just started crumbling after that.
Now to this day, Delfina keeps special items that remind her of her dear friend, Maria. Each piece holds a memory of her.
This young lady here, she was just like a sunshine, and she always had a pretty smile, and she loved horses.
It also reminds her how lucky she is.
She should be here with me, and we would both be 57 years old today. I wish that, we could have grew up together. I really wish that I could have got to know her a little bit more as we grew.
Both she and the CSPD cold case unit have vowed to never forget Maria.
She's always going to be right here all the time.
Or give up on finding her killer.
Till the day I go to my grave, I won't stop, and I'll still continue to fight for her because that's how much she means to me.
However, 47 years later, in 2019, a breakthrough occurred. The Colorado Springs Police Department reached out to Parabon Nanolabs, a company that specializes in genetic genealogy DNA analysis. This method combines advanced DNA testing with traditional genealogical research to trace family lineages and identify individuals through their family trees. The blood stain on Maria's blue jumpsuit was analyzed using this cutting-edge technique. Now, before the Honzell investigation, the department had already used genetic genealogy to solve 3 other cold cases successfully. This innovative technique proved to be a powerful tool in unraveling long-standing mysteries and bringing justice to the victims and their families.
Breaking it down to where they will naturally fall in the family tree, and then you see, biological parents, step-parents, children who had children.
After extensive research, a person of interest was finally found, William Charles Kernan Jr., also known as Bill Kernan. Sadly, Kernan had died in 2010, which made further investigation challenging. But it was later found that he was a student at a local college and acquainted with the neighbor for whom Maria was babysitting. Kernan had been seen at the apartment complex on previous occasions, adding weight to the suspicion against him. However, due to Kernan's death and the absence of biological relatives to provide DNA confirmation, the case could not proceed in the traditional legal sense. Although Kernan had been cremated and had no living biological relatives, the genetic genealogy results strongly indicated he was responsible for Maria's murder. The Colorado Springs Police Department requested the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office to review the case. After a thorough review, the District Attorney's Office concluded that William C. Kernan Jr. was indeed the person responsible for the murder of Maria Honzell. Since Kernan had died in 2010, the case was officially closed as exceptionally cleared death of offender. Kernan's obituary reveals that he was 61 when he passed away in Cheyenne Wells, a small town on the eastern plains near the Kansas border. He was surrounded by a large and loving family who survived him. Officials stated that Kernan died of natural causes, closing the final chapter of his life.
Unfortunately, we're not able to bring them to custody because they passed away, but the message is, again, that we just don't stop looking just because of the passage of time.
I'm happy and I'm sad at the same time because, the grief that the family feels, you can't You can't fix that.
The resolution of this case, though bittersweet, brought some measure of closure to Maria's family and the investigators who had worked tirelessly for nearly 5 decades. It was a mix of relief and disappointment. 4th Judicial District Attorney Michael Allen remarked, "In a sense, it can be disappointing. What we do in our work is to bring people into the courtroom and make them relive the horror they've inflicted on someone else. So in that respect, it is somewhat disappointing. But justice can take many forms."
Thank the whole department. I've been on the phone probably once a week for the last 5 years calling, and they've come through for us.
Every 2 weeks, a month, however many times he called or if he had questions, and you want to provide an answer. You want to tell them, I've got this.
For Maria's family, who had lived with unanswered questions for almost 50 years, justice came in the form of answers. They finally knew who was responsible for their beloved Maria's death. The confirmation of Kernan's involvement, though it didn't bring him to trial, lifted a weight off their shoulders. It marked the end of a long, painful journey and provided some semblance of peace. In the end, this case is a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice. It shows how technological advancements can breathe new life into cold cases and bring closure to grieving families. Maria Honzell's story is a poignant reminder that even after decades, the truth can still come to light. Now we want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the Maria Lorraine Honzell's case? Do you believe justice was truly served after all these years? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel for more.